Hello, all. It is me on Sunday, Facebook.com, Kevin Olenek, Twitter.com, Kevole, Spreaker.com, Kevole, SoundCloud.com, Kevole. You can also subscribe on YouTube at Kevin Olenek. And I would normally start with, I've been trying to improve my production quality on stuff, but I felt with this one, I really wanted to eliminate any production quality and any fanciness and just talk real here for a moment. I was not on Facebook much yesterday. I was at a transformation weekend here in Victoria, and it was a great weekend. And so I didn't spend a lot of time on social media yesterday because I was out after with friends and had a great time here in Victoria with human people. But I noticed Friday night and Saturday, from what I did see, is there was a lot of anger and outrage and stuff towards the trial involving Colten Bushie and the decision that was rendered in that. Gerald Stanley was acquitted in the trial of Colten Bushie. And I saw a lot of people kind of speak out about this and pop out about this and comment about this. And if you noticed on Facebook, the title of this is, I'm not going to talk about it, and I'd like to explain why. This is for me. And one of the things that we talked about this weekend was this idea of integrity. And if you've read the 4 agreements, the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. And I have to be completely honest with you. I was actually quite angry reading this. Not because I didn't want to hear people talk about this, not because I was impacted one way or the other, but the fact of the matter is, and one of the reasons I am not talking about this, is because I actually haven't researched and spent any time actually looking at the trial. Now, you may say, well, you know what, there has been, really the media didn't really talk about this, so it really would have been, it's really hard to find information. And my counter to you is if I actually want to find information, if I actually am legitimately interested in something, I would take the time to find it. It's not hard. Google is your best friend, obviously, and we can find things. If we're really legitimately interested, we actually would legitimately be interested. And it started to also lead me down a couple of other paths here. So as an example, we were talking about Canada being a racist country, and we had a racism problem. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with that, but you're just bringing this up now. So I'm struggle with this because there were times that I'm going to try to use more I, but I feel like I'm venting into a we because I'm a little perturbed. But I had an opportunity, because I have the privilege of having a social media presence of some kind, or a Facebook, a Twitter, a voice or whatever of some kind, however you want to word that. And I have that opportunity. And there are times that I haven't used it in an appropriate way, or have used it in a real way. My friend Shane, back a couple of years ago when the Paris attacks happened, shared this meme, and I'm going to share this with you. Got to pull it up here. And for those that are listening, it's the Ralph Wiggum meme standing in front of a locker room saying, "I'm helping." And so there were times, as an example, the Robert Pickton trial that happened a few years ago, I don't recall a lot of conversation about us talking about that trial. And it was a lot of missing and murdered Indigenous women. And we are sitting in silence about that. I sat in silence about that as well. We had a recent article in the paper from a lady named Tina Fontaine, a young woman. She was murdered, and the title in the actual article was that how much drugs and alcohol she had in her body. Meanwhile, we did a little comparison, and you might have seen it, where we were talking about the accused serial killer, Bruce McArthur, as a gentle Santa Claus kind human being. But I actually haven't really followed the Tina Fontaine trial. And I haven't followed this trial. And my personal struggle with participating in this conversation is Google can think that we're experts and we have a voice and we can hashtag justice for Colten, which apparently was trending yesterday. But that doesn't actually mean that I actually care. If you have friends that care, they are there through thick and thin. They're not there when everyone else is standing around in the crowd. They're not only just there when standing around in the crowd and saying, "Yay, I'm really sorry for your loss. Thoughts and prayers. We need to make changes." They're actually legitimately there when everybody else leaves and you feel like pardon my French, but a fucking mess. Those are the people that you can count on. And I feel in terms of the Indigenous community, and I'm not part of it, but I was thinking how many of us use this voice in a convenient way because we have a platform on social media that gets us the privilege to speak out, but yet in the converse in this, have we actually really researched this topic? And have we actually researched and heard what is going on? And I didn't say listen, I said heard. There's a difference here. I've been to a couple of these Me Too rallies that have been going on the last 6 months. And there have been women that have said that there have been problems with the police in terms of how they have been treated. And that has seemed to have fallen, I haven't talked about it much, so I'm not taking ownership here. That apparently has fallen on my deaf ear. There have been opportunities for me, as myself, to bring up these topics, and I have not done it. So it feels ingenuous to me, insincere, and unintegral for me to bring out and spot myself an opinion on something that I haven't taken the actual time to care and research and give thought about. I don't know if this gentleman is guilty or not. I don't know what happened in this actual trial. And yes, I could Google it, and a friend of mine and I were talking about it last night, and we had some information, and I had some thoughts. But really, when I was thinking about it, I'm like, I really don't have a thought because I'm not qualified enough to say anything about this. I don't have an actual opinion. I haven't actually followed the story. This all of a sudden has popped out as a story because a bunch of people have been tweeting about it. But this trial has been going on for some time, and I haven't heard anything about it. We haven't shared anything about it. So for me, as a person on this, I feel that also the other thing is when people tell stories that are powerful and impactful in their personal life, there are times, and I've been guilty of this, that I steal their thunder and I take over and I use that as, hey, look what I have to say. And I think that this is about as any time, we talked about this in the Me Too movement, that maybe it's time for men to sit back and listen. But it's time maybe for us that are not necessarily, I can't claim that I'm a non-Indigenous ally that I've heard. I can't claim I'm some sort of standing for diversity, human rights. I can't make those claims. Quite frankly, if I make those claims, they're bullshit. They're not necessarily true. I think that this is the time for me personally, what I want to do is actually sit back and actually let the Indigenous voices that have been through the blood, the sweat, and the tears share their stories and their experience, and not just hear them, but actually listen, but hear and legitimately hear from them. This is the time, if we're going to really have a conversation about racism in Canada, you can point to what happens in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Oh, well, Manitoba is racist, and yes, Saskatchewan and everywhere else where you apparently live is racist. But time to hear those voices and time to actually examine, for me, the community around me. I live in Richmond, and we can't deny that there's no racism going on there. There is. And examine what I've been thinking myself and what I have to contribute to this. So I'm not going to talk about this trial. I'm not going to participate in this conversation. I would rather listen in this conversation and hear what people that have really invested in this have to say. And I would like to give them that voice. So I just wanted to let this out. I know that this is not fancy or anything like that, but I think it's time for us to we're pretending. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. I'm not going to act like an expert. I think it's time for myself. I want to sit back and take the time to actually listen to the people that have been dealing with this struggle for 150 years. I mean, there's people out there talking about there's no Indigenous jury presence and angry about that. You know that conversation has been going on since 1991, and we are just bringing this up as a topic now. I feel like we're taking advantage of an opportunity and stealing thunder, and I don't feel right about it. It actually makes me sick inside. So I wanted to say that. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And as I said, Twitter, Facebook, Spreaker, SoundCloud. I'm not going to the comments. I just wanted to say this. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye for now. And if you're pissed off at me, I get it. And if you disagree with me, I get it. But that's my perspective. Bye for now.